The Lawyer Who Rocks is brought to you by Hughes Media Law Group. You can visit HMLG at hmlglaw.com. Keep up with the podcast on social media at HMLG Law on all major platforms, and be sure to follow us there. Thank you for listening and enjoy this episode of The Lawyer Who Rocks. My name is Jolene Winther Hughes. I am a lawyer who rocks.
When it comes to having your back, there ain't nobody better. This you better believe. Jolene.
It wasn't that long ago when my guest today came into our office to tell us about a vision to create high-performing, plant-based, non-toxic cleaning products and to also make them beautiful. Wow, did Lindsay Droz and Kristi, the co-founders of Levant Collective, knock it out of the park. I'm so excited to have you guys here today to tell us about your journey to being startup entrepreneurs with Levant Collective. So welcome, you guys.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having us. We're so excited to be here.
Well, me too. And I always love to, before we get into sort of what you're doing now and all the cool stuff we're working on, I always like to start at the beginning and get the history, because I think it's important for people to realize that the road to entrepreneurship is not necessarily a straight one. So where are you both from?
I am Billings, Montana, and then I moved to White Salmon, Washington, a little town about an hour east of Portland and Vancouver for high school. Went to Washington State University and graduated in 2000 and then headed over to Seattle to start the career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm Lindsay. I'm from Seattle, born and raised here. I'm a Seattleite. Went to University of Washington, studied business, and then went into the medical device arena for the last 20 years before we ventured into this.
So you guys are clearly Cougs and Huskies. So if anyone in Washington State knows, you're rivals, clearly. How did you guys meet?
I heard about this kick-ass gal that this guy in college I really liked as a friend who he married. She was smart, intelligent, and I'd always want to meet her. And when we were both pregnant with our first children over 10 years ago, we were at a wedding so it was at a wedding of one of their fraternity brothers. And I got to meet her and I fell in love ever since.
Yeah.
So
Big time love fest. We were the only two pregnant people at the wedding and everyone else having a good time. And we were 8 months pregnant and swollen feet and all that. So we bonded over that and subsequently had 2 more children each, and just we're in the beginning stages of mommyhood together, all the highs and the lows and the long nights and all of that. So,
and being career women
Yeah.
and working mothers.
yeah, keeping very busy at the jobs, but just so talking through it all. And that's where the dreaming started, was late night wine nights on the weekends with babies asleep and just spitballing ideas and talking about how we eventually wanted to start something of our own, how we dreamed about that. And we're equal and opposite in our skill sets. So I have always dreamed of starting my own business, but knew where my weaknesses lied and knew I always needed to find my better half. And my career was in finance and accounting. So I heavy in finance and operations, and Lindsay has the sales side, and we just fit really well together.
Yeah, very, very true.
Did you have any mentors or champions of your cause as you were coming up that have given you that confidence to think, oh, I could actually do this?
We have the most incredible set of mentors and people that have helped us in this journey and given us that confidence. I mean, there weren't many people that said, I don't think you can do this. In fact, I don't think I even remember someone. I don't know if they tell me to my face, but I think for the most part, people were very much encouraging of like, of all people, you can do this. And, I had a guy that I worked with in my previous role who still is one of my best friends to this day, who said, there's nothing that you cannot accomplish. He gave me the job on the whim. He probably shouldn't have, because I was this 27-year-old girl straight out of, I was working in pharmaceutical sales prior to this job. And he believed in me 100% to take me under his wing, give me the skill sets to kind of flourish. And now to this day, still is saying, I can't think of anything that you can't do. And so I think that from a mentorship, it's so important to have both female and male mentors. I think it's so important for males to continue to bring women under the hood. And, one of the things that I really tried to push for in my last position was, bring those male executives, because we didn't have any on our leadership team, but for the majority of it was, 95% male. And, the thought process is have those males, those really smart men that have built their way up, bring women to that table with them. Start being their guidance instead of just taking the guys out to the golf club and to the bar afterwards and doing a poker night. Bring the women to, take them out to coffee. See how you can help bring women more to that table. And I think it's a group thing. It's not women can't shut her in the corner too and say, oh, shoot, I didn't get that opportunity because I'm a woman. It's not about that. It's about how can we do this together? Men are doing a really outstanding job of starting to listen to this conversation because they know that, all the research states that when companies are diversified in not only male and female, but in races, in sexuality, and all these different things, companies do better. And it's important to bring everybody to that table and not just have this one gender or one same look of everybody sitting at that same table.
I have had plenty of awesome support of amazing people that I've worked for that have championed me all along. We've found so many people who have supported this along the way because I think you need that. You've got to find your village when you're in the depths and the darkness of an idea, and then you leave your job and you're not having any income, and you're like, what have we done? And it takes maybe a year after year after year until you can get it off the ground. So finding mentors and people who believe in you is so big. And we feel very fortunate that we have a great village around us.
Well, did either of you have any experience with entrepreneurship before you started Levant?
No, I've always been in corporate roles.
Yeah, same. Yeah. It's a big risk. It's all on you. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to be prepared to not make money, to spend money, to put yourself out there. I mean, I remember our first time we made an Instagram post, it was all, oh God, this is going out to the world. And it's this vulnerable state.
Very vulnerable.
I think we could have done this 10 years ago, but now that we've got 10 more years of experience, we have the confidence, that we're great at this. The fear is what oftentimes holds people back and why I didn't do anything before this.
Yeah. And for me, I had built for 20 years this amazing network of CFAs to all these men. And I'm like, I'm quitting to go make soap. It was a hard thing to say.
Sometimes you get a golf clap like, oh, that's great.
Cute.
Yeah, cute.
Oh, okay.
But we did it.
What made you decide to take the plunge? Was it the idea? Was it the brainstorming? I mean, when did you have that moment? What was the aha moment?
It really started with the children and our animals that I was mopping the floor one day with some type of wet mopper, and the label said, don't use it if you have an animal, because they would lick their paws and they could either get poisoned by the cleaner from the floor or it absorb into their paws. But there was no label about this crawling baby that was about to have their chubby knees and hands crawling all over the floor. There was no label warning me about that. So that started that. And Kristi had a very similar thing. It was all about the kids.
Right. My middle son at 6 months developed eczema. And after he got out of the tub or whatever, his whole skin would be inflamed. And like, what am I using? And researching it and realizing pretty much everything I was using inside my house was irritating his very sensitive skin. So the cleaners in the tub, the laundry detergent I was using, the lotions on his skin, like everything. So stripping away a lot of the toxic chemicals. But I mean, on a side note too, like I distinctly remember after my first son, I would wipe down my counter and then I would wipe it down with water afterwards, because I was like, my kids are eating like their peanut butter and jelly just right off the counter, but I've just wiped it down with this stuff. And it just was like, it was just icky.
Bunch of chemicals. Yeah.
Icky. Yeah. So I was like, there's got to be a better way.
So how did you come up with the name Levant?
We hired somebody to help us with naming, and we went through many, many, many iterations, but the French word lever means to wash. And then avant is innovative. So it's like an innovative cleaning. And then when we went to trademark it, we couldn't, Levant itself is either a surname or it's also a word in French. So we added
the ampersand.
We added the ampersand, is that what you say it? Because so it's not a word.
What was the team? Having a branding partner? Obviously, Kristi, you have the finance background, so you probably didn't need that where a lot of companies do. But what kind of partners did you need to get going?
It was really important for us to have the people that filled our gaps. So our gaps are legal, clearly. Our gaps are chemistry. Our gaps are digital marketing, branding. And so we needed some of those bigger pieces to make this a whole story. I think, to anybody getting started out though, some of the best advice that we got was to make sure that we did have a lot of our legal stuff buttoned up. From a trademarking perspective, simple things, it might seem like an investment at first, but in the end, it's going to be well worth it. And same with branding. Once we paid a little bit more to have this look because that was so important to us, we hired someone, and what she brought back to
Yeah.
us was there's no way a novice like us could have done that.
And what's so great about her too is she's part of our team. I mean, she's outsourced, but like she'll let us know immediately if we go askew
Yeah.
in what we're posting on social media, how we're talking about our brand. She really kind of helps write us on
That-
staying in the lane of what we have developed as who we are, what our ethos is. And sometimes we can
Yeah.
get a little sidetracked.
Yeah, it's cool. This team that we have, you included, and everybody else who's helped bring. I mean, it truly is a partnership of people that we bring on. We can't afford a full-time attorney here in house. We can't afford a full-time branding person. To meet people like you, and you've elevated our game from
Yeah.
so many. You've gotten us out of so many holes, and you've been the best attorney that we worked at. You understand the mentality of a startup business about what goes into it. You also are respectful of different types of time and projects that can go into it. And you're so connected, which we completely underestimated the value of that, I think. And you've just been truly, your team has been dynamite to work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
There's definitely comfort in having you guys part of our community and our village because you get a quick answer and completely trust the answer behind it.
Yeah.
There's no questioning your guys' responses to.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah.
Well, what is more powerful than a bunch of really kick-ass women taking on the world and following their
Yeah.
dreams?
Yeah.
Really.
Well, thank you. Thanks for supporting us in that. I'm
Yeah.
really,
You're
really
welcome.
cool.
I was gonna say what's so great about right now is that everybody's working from home. So the opportunity to hire a consulting or a freelance person, I think there's no better time to kind of surround yourself with experts than there is right now.
So what I'm really, really just excited to learn about is the actual process of creating your products. I would love for you to explain sort of the different products you have and then what went into creating them.
We were not going to be like a farmer's market type product. We did not envision ourselves at home making batches of cleaning products. Lindsay hunted and found the lead chemists out of one of the biggest non-toxic brands out there who had gone out on her own, and she listened to our story. We were all excited 3 years ago about all these ideas, and she was like, okay, I'll take you on. So she believed in us and our mission and our vision and really held our hand. So she is one of the very few experts in green chemistry that exist, and somehow we got her. So we're just so thankful for that. So we wanted to create the highest performing non-toxic products on the market that you would not have to compromise from your favorite conventional stuff. We're going to be just as good. So we have a dish soap, a very high performing dish soap, a hand soap, a multi-purpose cleaner that is truly all purpose. It works on all your surfaces, and then biodegradable wipes, then surface wipes, cleaning wipes. Those are the 4 things that we launched with, and we obviously want to expand, but we're newbies. So
We have expanded since then. I mean, one formulation we did expand on, that was our multi-purpose concentrates. The big thing to us too was not only for it to be non-toxic and high performing, but also a sustainability play. I mean, the amount of plastic that's going to be sitting in our ocean when we leave this earth is astounding. And so if we could make some part of impact to that, we wanted to do that, which meant glass bottles in the first original bottles, and then also offering refill components. So we could continue to have people use less waste. And, we'll only continue to get better too. We do have a couple plastic things. We're not perfect yet, but we are getting there. And that's our whole mission, is to try to have the best formula inside there, and then the packaging, make it look good, but also have it be sustainable.
What was launch like for you?
There's a million different directions you can go from a launch perspective. And, being a startup, we didn't have a huge budget for launch. So we had to get really scrappy and really creative. Didn't have a PR team. So what that meant for Kristi and I were pulling together lists of, our first go-to was social media. So who are the people on social media that we listen to, that we buy products from, and start targeting those people. So we sent out, let's say, 150 media kits to those influencers, and getting that word off the ground, that was surmountable for us. But the biggest thing initially, honestly, was our community of friends and family, and everybody we had told about this brand for 3 years We told everybody. So that idea of if you have an idea, don't tell anybody, someone's going to steal it. No one's going to steal the damn idea. It takes too long to launch a damn company. So just tell everybody. And we built that community over 3 years, and those people came to town
Yeah, they did.
when we launched.
Yeah. And it just happened that we launched in December of 2020. We were delayed a lot because of, we were small. And so we're at the bottom of the list as far as raw materials and components. Everything was delayed. But so we happened to launch in the gifting season. So that certainly helped. That was luck. And then also we did a lot. We reached out to a lot of influencers. They were fantastic. And then friends. And then those influencers reached out to other influencers. But I'll tell you what, women really support women.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Hey, great.
Now we feel like we're like besties with all these people that we've never met.
We keep going to customers' houses. They keep inviting us over. They keep asking if they can invest in us. I mean, it's just been so cool. It's been so neat.
It's been really
fun. The other cool thing too, Jolene, is that these men have been loving it. What we really wanted is to take away cleaning be a woman's job. And, like, remember the ads of Jiffy Moms choose Jif? It's not about moms anymore. It's about the whole damn family getting involved, that whole home equity piece of it. And so I can't tell you how many pictures we've gotten of customers' husbands, or the husband sending us a picture saying, this is his favorite thing ever. He does the dishes now. And that's really cool because we want to feel like we're a part of that and making it enjoyable for them too, because it's a whole house job. It's not just mom's job anymore.
Yeah. And then what Levant brings is a whole new experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Through the scent, which it's hard over a podcast to describe it, but you have smelled it too. It's like a whole new experience, and it doesn't feel icky and like
no longer just citrus, pine smelling. It is truly, we were able to, curate and create our signature scent, which is 100% natural fragrance. We call it fresh linen. It's this blend of these incredible oils that you've never smelled a cleaning product like it. It's just very fresh and not too feminine, not too masculine, just right in the middle, and it makes you feel joy. So if you spray down your house real quick before company comes over, it doesn't smell like you just cleaned the house. It's that, oh, wow, your house smells just really nice.
Now that you're sort of in the trenches, like slogging away, how is that going?
There's definitely highs and lows. It's a roller coaster because I was the finance and operations person only. So I never was on the front end of the ship, but man, it's rocky. But rocked by like daily, right? So there'll be times where it's just like super exciting. And then other times you're like, oh my God, are we going to make it? Mm-hmm. But then Lindsay's like, yeah, we're going to be just fine. And it's just the two of us. So a lot of days we just feel scrambled. We're working with a digital marketing team out of New York who's fabulous. But in a digital age, you need constant content, like content. And we're also trying to work on new products, updated packaging, ordering inventory, like packing boxes, answering emails, legal, fundraising, like all these things. And then in the meantime, we're supposed to do like 10 reels and TikToks and social media and
supposed
stories.
To go make sales, talk to retailers. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wholesale retail. I mean, it's a lot, but at the end of the day, you have to sell. So priority one should be content.
We were just with these women the other night who were asking for advice, just as we did when we were starting out. We give back and we want to be able to do it and help other people. But the one thing that we told them, and again, this is easier said than done, is just get your product out there because, we thought that we wanted to make it perfect. And even at launch, it was not perfect and it's constantly changing. So just get it out there. Find your big priority. If it's formulation, okay, that's fine. Pick something that you can be really, really proud of because we don't have to change our formulation now. Our formulation is damn perfect, but everything else, we find different things that need to get fixed. Because your customers tell you. Let customers tell you what they need and what they want and what they believe is different. Because up until then, it's that tunnel vision of what we thought we needed. And the customer's like, I don't care about that. But what I do care about is this. So that's been really interesting. And, you ask the question too of like, how is it going? We were just talking this morning, like we were looking at the numbers for retail. We continue to double our sales every month. That retail sector was really, really cool. So the challenge is though, that's super overwhelming. It's more orders to pack. It's more to do. It's more to sell. It's more inventory to come in. So there's that challenge, but the actual business side of it, our fear is that we can't keep up,
When do you bring people in to help and what areas do you bring in people to help? And those are all good things to have. But I feel like this first year, it's like the new baby. We're getting so many I don't want to say get out of jail free, but so much grace
Mm-hmm.
from customers and vendors and everybody because this is our infancy and we're not going to be in this period for long. So I want to make sure we get everything operational like ducks in a row. So we move forward. But it's hard. And then we each have 3 kids that are in a gazillion sports and homeschooled, and there's just not enough time to the day.
Yeah. Shout out to our husbands.
Yeah.
They're rock stars.
Yeah.
They're taking care of our kids. They're driving the kids to sports. They just took a half pay cut in the household with the 2 of us. So they are Chris and Eric. We love you. We sometimes don't share it, but we love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, babe, I'm going to take our savings and I'm going to make
So
soap. Oh my God. And it's going to do amazing. And
Yeah.
trust me, it's gonna all come back. I promise.
You mentioned earlier, like, listen to your customers. What is one of the things that you learned from your customers that was surprising to you?
I think something that surprised us big time was the amount they like to be able to talk to us and get a real person on the phone. So from a customer perspective, that was interesting because we were going to have what's called 3PL or fulfillment come in and pack our boxes and ship them out. And right now we're writing notes every day to every package that goes out the door, just with full on thankfulness. And we feel like that has been super surprising that people resonate with that. And there's an actual person on the end of it.
Mm-hmm. We get phone calls and DMs from people and they're surprised that it's actually Lindsay and I behind it all.
And that we launched a couple months ago.
And we launched a couple months ago. So yeah, it's been surprising. I was surprised at how much the scent would resonate with people.
I agree. Me too. Yeah,
Like,
that's a great point.
I thought the performance and the packaging would be like the end all be all, but you cannot underestimate the power of scent and the experience that it brings.
Great point.
And it kind of feels a little bit pressure for scent number 2 on us because
Yeah.
this scent, people are like, they're taking the multi-purpose and they're spraying it on themselves. And we're like, okay, like, I wouldn't recommend, it's safe and non-toxic, but
Yeah.
we're not going to tell you to spray it on your skin.
I think the other thing that surprised us too, being a new startup, our costs are super high. And so in order to be able to get great, ingredients inside the product, have beautiful packaging, all the stuff comes at a price. And so we have to charge a higher price for these cleaning products because we don't have the volume to support that high price. I think we've had 2 people say that it's a little bit out of their price range, but for the most part, people are like, we want this, we value it, and your product is worth that money. And so that's been, I think, really surprising to us.
Mhm.
Believe me, we are not making hand and fist over money on the price points that we have. That's truly, we were surprised how these other big companies, how cheap the other products are. Because we know even though their volumes are big, like they're putting some shitty stuff in those bottles, make it be that cheap.
$2.99.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so we know the costs. Even if we were to scale at 1 million units, we know what our product would cost at that. So it's
Still not $2.99.
It's still not $2.99.
Well, what is the overall cost to people using those kinds of
That's
products?
a great question.
Right?
That's the thing.
The
Yeah.
long-term impact.
The long-term impact to their health, to, you look at the studies on people that are professional cleaners. There's a study that was out of a Harvard Business Review that talked about cleaners, that their impact of asthma from being around those types of harsh cleaners all day in and day out. Now, they're the ones that are on the extreme, but you bring that into your household. Inside your house is the number 1 toxic environment that you can be in. I mean, all the things that we surround ourselves by, and that we wonder why we get cancer these days, lung cancer, asthma, emphysema. And it could be one of the things that contributes to that outside of family genetics and other factors is inside your home.
Do you have any advice for other female entrepreneurs that are sitting in their corporate jobs right now and they have the dream that you guys had?
You start talking to people, grab coffee, ping somebody on LinkedIn or ask people, do you know anybody? If you manifest the idea and you put it out in the world, without you knowing it, you walk towards it. You put yourself in motion. And if you just hide it away in your mind, it's not going to happen. So you got to start. You just got to visualize it, verbalize it, and just start talking about it. And you'll move towards it.
It's definitely about getting the idea out in the world. Tell everybody your idea, and to be okay with someone to say, oh, that's a crappy idea. Just say, tell me why it's a crappy idea. I'd love to hear pick your holes at it. You're going to learn more from picking holes than you are going to learn from someone saying, oh, that's a great idea, and sugarcoating it. So be receptive to feedback that you don't want to hear. The thing that I would really encourage people to do is, it's one step at a time. You can think of this big dream and you think of the end of the tunnel, the big success you could have, but just take that first small step, whether that's putting a name to it, getting an LLC, drawing out your logo, just something, just take one small step at a time. And those small steps are going to lead it to that marathon for you. Because I think it's overwhelming to be like, well, I don't even know where I'd start. What's that one thing you can do to move that ball forward? And the other thing that I know we've talked about, what we did a lot, and I still have these books, is that we started writing down our daily problems. What is the problem that you had today? Like my seatbelt didn't click, or it was hard to reach, or different things like that. Because if you're like, I want to do an idea, but I don't know what product I would have, just start writing ideas down. And you'll be amazed at how every day there will be 20 things that you're like, I wish I could do that better. I wish I could do that better. So that would be some advice there.
Reach out to Lindsay and I. I mean, I am a CPA and an accounting and finance person. She's medical sales, and we developed a cleaning product, like a kick-ass. So you can do it. We didn't know anything from anywhere. Like we didn't know anything. And
we didn't know what a formulation chemist was.
Yeah,
we learned.
We Googled like, what is it? Is it a green? Is it chemistry? Is it chemicals? Is it, who do we call? Like, who do you call? I don't know.
Yeah.
You just figure it out.
Well, I mean, I love supporting strong women in business. I especially love when there's an innovative product that means a lot to me personally. And what you guys are doing, I feel, is changing the world a bit. And that's really important. It's really powerful. And so for those reasons, I think you guys are badasses. And I would love to know why you think you're badasses.
I know. It's because we believe in ourselves. I went to a Tony Robbins seminar, and it was all about getting past fear. And one of the big things that we walked on fire. So you remember like when Oprah walked on fire at the coals and stuff, the whole premise is that don't think about those coals and that fire you're walking on. Think about that other side. Think about what your goal is, and whether it's weight loss, whether it's getting married, whether it's, getting a new job. Think about and visualize yourself in that place. We visualize every day where we're going. We know it's not about the daily steps that we're taking. We know exactly where we're going. And we believe there's no better team than us to do this. I feel that the universe has granted us this opportunity, and we're not going to mess it up. And we know we're the ones to do it.
I think for me, sometimes I need to prove to myself before I can think that I'm a badass. But taking a step back, even just now, like 4 or 5 months later, and looking at some of the images of even where we were 4 months ago and where we are now today, I'm like, oh my God, we have come so far. And talking to other people who have ideas, and I'm like, oh, we did it. So we actually took the idea and followed through on it. And I don't know how many people actually do that. Not too many people get to where we've gotten. I'm just so proud of us for making it this far and where we're going. And it's just been a wild, joyous ride. I mean, just today we did this interview, and the lady got back to us saying that they had 300 submissions and we were one of 30. It resonated so much with her. She's putting it into a book.
And this is a major, this is a major publication, which is so humbling.
I mean, I was like, I totally started crying because I'm like,
and Kristi doesn't cry. She doesn't. I mean, all of a sudden I looked up and she's bawling. I'm like, who died? She's like, I'm just so proud of us. So it's just like, I'm tearing up again. I'm just like, Jesus. I'm like, oh, maybe we are badass.
Oh, that's so cool. Congratulations on that. That's amazing. I mean, when you start getting the word out, just the ball starts rolling. Well, thank you guys so much. I've enjoyed this. Is such a fun time. It goes by too fast.
Thank you so much, Jolie.
Thank you for listening to The Lawyer Who Rocks. If you've enjoyed it and want to hear more from business badasses, make sure you hit the subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. While you're at it, please give us a review. It really helps us grow the show. The Lawyer Who Rocks is produced by Sean Fox and HMLG. If you've got an idea for a podcast, you can find Sean online at sfpodcast.com. A big thank you to Aaron Jones for our theme music, to Jeff Gilbert at Hairball Media for our awesome artwork, and thanks to my entire team at HMLG. If you need a lawyer who rocks, find us at hmlglaw.com. On the next episode,
I don't do things in half measures. And I bring, whether it's through my relationships, whether it's through my work, I bring sort of a lot of intensity and joy.
This podcast has been brought to you by HMLG. If you need lawyers who rock, Visit us on our website at hmlglaw.com, or be sure to follow us on social media at hmlglaw or at The Lawyer Who Rocks on all social media platforms. God, I forgot it already. Isn't that terrible?